Hey, this is me, Trina Kavanagh-Thomas. I am a writer, creative, and a healer. And today I'm with the incredible Chloe Myers from the B Plan. Now, Chloe, I've been watching Chloe for quite some time now. And I think the thing that's really come into me is your post recently about being a leader and possibly not seeing yourself quite as a leader, even though you are, what was it? Where you
Well, I am a leader, but not on purpose, kind of thing. I'm an accidental leader.
an accidental leader running a global
Yeah.
business. You've got 2 young boys, husband, and the way you got to where you are with what you do is well-being, nutrition, was your own self-care journey in 2013, and you were suffering hormonal imbalances, aggressive acne for 20 years. Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously you follow recommendation of like supplementation, looking after yourself, and the power, the cellular power that you go through as well. And the thing that we've been talking about today is being a busy mum, because the reason why I was a little bit late today doing this, because I was rushing to get to my friend's house to have some self-care. And that was the energy that came up, was just being a busy mum. And as you know, Chloe, you're a busy mum as well. How does that fit with what you do? Because what you do now is you are a global leader in what you do. So how does that fit?
So I just have this massive passion for helping others, but actually the calling for me and where I guess feel I want to help the most is the mums, because I'm a mum, you're a mum, and actually a mum these days looks very different to how it did say 50 years ago, because unlike back then, you're expected now to be a mum, but also to hold down a full-time job as well, and to make sure there's food in the fridge, and to juggle all the constant emails and the bills and the admin from school. And oh my gosh, we have to juggle so many plates. Life is running faster than ever. And I feel as well, sorry to the men, but I do feel like women are very much about caring for others and not about themselves. They tend to put everybody in front of them, their kids, their partners, their jobs, their families, their parents. And we tend to sort of roll into bed at the end of the night exhausted and get up and we just go again. And so for me, yeah, being able to just find really simple ways to protect yourself, to support yourself amongst a very, very fast-paced world, that was my whole kind of mission and calling, really, just to pay it forward one person at a time, just make a small difference to people. But naturally it tends to be the mums, because that's where I hang out, really. So yeah.
I think that is beautiful, like the way you put it. And I think the thing that also comes into that is the worry women go through as well, especially like when we have our own children and stuff. I mean, I've got 3 and then a grandbaby on the way, and the sheer, because I know my daughter's giving birth in 7 weeks, and I'm the one who's on call for when she goes into labor. Can you take me into hospital? And I'm like, yes, I can. And then in the background, I'm going, but I'm so worried at the same time. And even from what I do, and I know that we're in sync in a way, even from my point of view as well. And she's also got a house as well, and I'm just waiting for that day when her bedroom's like empty, and that moment where I go, shit, my child is like literally left home. And I know I have felt that emotion already, that kind of like, she's going, she's actually she's happy that she's going. And I'm like, oh my God, don't leave me, but it's those things, isn't it, as well? It's like the stuff that, we worry about. I don't think no one tells you when you have children, the untold worry that you feel, that sometimes we are not meant to feel, in society. And that's a very difficult thing to navigate, because we have feelings, we're human beings.
Yeah, and also, as a parent, I'm sort of going down the parent route, I guess, but I was talking to somebody today, and I was talking about some of the struggles that I've been facing the last week, just with my boys at school and things like that. And then she was talking about her daughter, who's 25, and she said, "Oh, I've had some sleepless nights this week." And I said, "Oh my gosh, we're going to be worrying about our kids forever. And because I work in health and well-being and following my own health journey and not understanding why I kept having all these problems when I was seemingly so fit, so healthy, eating all the right foods. Once I understood the massive impact that stress has, emotional stress has on our body and on our health, oh my gosh. And you know, we were saying before the call, my history goes right back to, this really aggressive acne. I'm not cured of my acne. Like, if I get really stressed for a prolonged period of time of a few weeks or a month or so, and life is just going too fast and you can't sort of come up for air, you know, I always say it's like swimming in an ocean and waves keep coming. And the minute you sort of come up, take a breath, another thing comes. It could be the clutch going on the car or something awful happening at your kid's school, or you just feel like, oh my God, just keep going. When that happens to me, I get a skin outbreak, and it's just my body's way of saying, whoa, you know, come on, calm things down. But I always say, and I was having this conversation today at a health event I went to, I think stress is the biggest cause of disease. It's the biggest cause of your cells to go a little bit crazy and the balance to tip. And yes, we live in a very toxic world and things like that, but the stress and the overwhelm, and that, not like major stress. I mean, I know trauma and things like that have a massive part, but almost just running the engine instead of at 5 miles an hour at a constant 20. Just this, something's not right, you know, I'm going too fast, And because you're stressed when you're asleep, you wake up a bit anxious, you go again. And it's like, it doesn't have to be major stresses, just daily stress that just eats away like a rust in the body. I always say our body's like a car, and it does just chip away. It just causes a rusting effect. And we've really, really, really got to manage our stress levels, because it's only going to get worse, I think. The speed at which society moves and the pressure that we have on ourselves and the daily bombardment, it's a lot.
And you hit the nail on the head, because like it's almost like people go at that constant like and it's almost like no let up, you know, and it's almost like no processing anything that comes in. And I don't know about you, but as you said, like that, because I know what you do for those, you know, really busy, overwhelmed, exhausted, and it's exhausting for them as well. And to have, you know, someone like you, to have someone who, you know, is there, because I do look at your posts, you know, to have someone who's there who shares, you know, the moments that they go through, you know, like it's not a great day today, but but then, you know, other days it is a great day. It doesn't, like every day is like the worst day. Do you know what I mean? You always seem to, you know, you show the moments where you're like, this today is not the best, but you always rise from it. And it's so beautiful to watch and to see, because, you know, we could easily gloss over it all the times, but it's amazing how it fits with what you do as well.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things in regards to that, because I think, you know, firstly, I think when people say, oh, I don't really like social media, I think it's because of that comparativitis or whatever, where you compare your lives. And so people only really post the happy family shot. You know, my friend did a classic one of her and her kids and her husband doing this amazing family photo. And she just said, don't be fooled. This is the only nice moment. We had fights. We've been rained on. I've had a fallout with my husband. She said, we took this photo, but actually it was a really difficult day. And I was like, oh, how nice to see that, because you just see all this rose tinted glasses stuff. And actually, you know, I do try and show that we're real, because we're all real. And if you are going to be on social media, I actually think it makes people feel worse if you constantly show this constant. No one's life is perfect, and everybody has tough times. But two of my favorite quotes, there's the one that sort of says, you know, as far as bad days go, I'm still here today. So there's no such bad day that you can't get over it the next day, because you always get up the next day. So, you know, you can always kind of, you know, get over them, because you've done it for however many years, getting over them. And just understanding that I think to have the lows in life means that you can really appreciate the highs. And when you have really good positive moments, you can really savor them and enjoy them. But it's like yin and yang. You can't have a plain sailing life, and nobody's life is perfect. But a mentor, like a mindset coach, once said to me, guaranteed, no matter what's going on in your life, if you walked into a room with 100 people and you all put your problems on the table, you would pick yours back up every time, because they're yours and they're familiar to you and you know what they are. Some people, you've only got to talk to maybe 6 people to hear something horrendous and think, actually, we're okay, we're good, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we get sucked into this comparison where, oh, they look so happy, don't be fooled by all that. Everybody, if they're in a marriage, if they've got kids, if they have a house, they've all got similar problems. And that's why for me, kindness is a big one. I don't do negativity and I don't do toxicity. I just have to remove myself from it, because everybody's fighting their own battle. Just be kind, you know, look down on people if you're just going to help them up. And that's the only time you should, really. I'm a big one for that. I don't do, you know, the opposite, you know, you know, so yeah, it's all about positive vibes for me.
Yeah, and I do, and that's what I really, you know, appreciate from your, you know, from what you do, because the thing is, at the end of the day, and you hit the nail on the head, is that not everyone has like the most sparkliness, pristine life, and also equally at the same time, you can, what's the word I'm looking for? Things can happen in your life, but there are still a lot of things that can be appreciated in life as well. And I suppose like it's not about negating the feelings when you go through them, you know, like not pushing them to one side, because as soon as they've come through, you're out the other side and you're happy and things, you know, things flourish again. So I kind of I don't know, I just kind of see life like that sometimes. I see life as feelings do come up. They're never around for as long as, you know, well, depending. They don't need to be around for very long, and then we can move through and move forward. And that's what I usually take from what you do. And I also take from your post as well is the you know, like every time I see you, like the brightness that you have from being around people. And what you know, and what you bring and what you give to other people as well. And you can see that within the groups that you've created, and with, you know, and with obviously, you know, the way your audience reacts to you as well. You can really and obviously we've been in meetings together as well, so you can really genuinely see the beauty that actually shines through, and it shines through exactly what you do. So it shines through the fact of the supplementation, and you're really passionate about what you do as well. So I know you got did you get into it because of the hormone imbalances, or?
So, well, I mean, like, it's quite a long journey that started when I was 12, because when I was 12 and the hormones kick in, so do the spots, and you're like, oh, okay, it's normal. But when they're doing it, when the makeup artist is frantically trying to fix your face on your wedding day at 32, you know you've got a problem. And yeah, my skin was really, really bad. I used to go to hospital with blood poisoning and have to have drips and things like that. It would track down my face into all my lymph nodes and into my arms, and it's just a total disaster. So I had this horrific face. You know, if I smiled, my face would split open and bleed. It was just such a disaster, and I could not understand why, because I'd competed in swimming nationally, and I did athletics, and I was captain of all the sports teams. You know, I was very, very fit and healthy. My mum raised us on an amazing diet. We always cooked from scratch. We never ever, I think you know, McDonald's, I think I had probably once. I mean, just literally, we didn't have any fast food. Such a good diet. And I was seeing nutritionists and dietitians, and been to Harley Street, went privately, was having laser treatments. I mean, you name it. Oh my God, I've got a call coming in. I'm so sorry. That's so bad. That's good. Yeah, sorry, call just came in, you know, never off duty. And that was a client asking for help on something. Yeah, so I just could not fix it. And of course, the doctors started, you know, with putting you on a pill, and then antibiotics and topical treatments. And then I went on a really aggressive drug called Roaccutane that kind of wrecks your liver. Went on that 5 times, sends you loopy. So had to come off that, and just all these things. And then, was told. So I diagnosed myself with PCOS, polycystic ovaries. So I went for a scan, which I paid privately for, and they said that it was the worst they'd ever seen. So my ovaries were completely cystic, and they said you'll be infertile. So that was great. I just met my now husband. So that was it for me. I'm somebody that if you tell me something can't be done, I'll find a way. And I hate being backed in a corner. If I'm going to get backed in a corner, I'll just come out fighting, kind of thing. So I was like, right, well, I'll find a way. And I started immediately, intuitively looking at diet, nutrition, health, supplement, like herbs. And I'm very lucky my mum had sort of got me into all of that. So I was seeing all these different people. And then it was just this 20-year journey of trying to fix my face. And with that, heavy periods and really changing moods and all this stuff. My testosterone, when it was measured, was higher than a teenage boy's in my late 20s. So, I was like a raging sort of 14-year-old bloke. I was literally, my testosterone was sky high. So anyway, and then just it all changed. I got pregnant with Arthur naturally. Then I had a miscarriage. And then I got pregnant with Freddie. But I'd been going to a clinic down the road in Tunbridge Wells, where I live in Kent, to have acupuncture to try and get pregnant because it was taking so long. And I was having acupuncture there. I knew the owner of the clinic because my uncle's seen him for years. It was him that told me to go there. And when I was 6 weeks pregnant with Freddie, the miscarriage started again. And I was like, no way. I'd spent 6 months trying to have him. I'd spent all this money on treatments to get him. And so I called Jeff, my practitioner, sobbing. And I just said, help me. What am I going to do? And he does amazing stuff in clinic. And I've got Freddie, and he's 9 in January. And that's when he introduced whole food concentrates, because I was just vomiting so much. My morning sickness when I'm pregnant is off the scale. It's like something out The Exorcist. I lose so much weight. I couldn't get food in. I know the importance of food. And I was sobbing, and I just said, Jeff, this baby's getting nothing from me. What am I going to do? I can't eat. I cannot eat anything other than a piece of toast every day. And so he said, just take these fruit and veg in a capsule, put them in your body. It'll cross into the bloodstream. Your baby will get fed. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. I knew he was going to get nutrients in my bloodstream. I trusted Jeff implicitly. And 6 weeks later, I had clear skin. And it was like, oh, okay. And that started it for me. It was like, well, why? Why fruit and veg? Why has no doctor told me? Then I started to learn it, and I went back to him and I said, how the hell have I got clear skin, Jeff? What's happened? And he started talking to me about silent inflammation and about free radicals and antioxidants and the role that fruits and vegetables play to stop your DNA messing up. And the more I learned, the more I just felt passionately about it. But because I felt really annoyed. I felt annoyed at the age of 12 to 32. Why did no skin specialist tell me this? Why did I not learn this at my grammar school education, doing biology and A-level, at GCSEs? Why didn't a doctor sit down with me and explain to me inflammation and disease processes in the body? And it was just drug after drug after drug, or take chocolate out your diet. And I'd seen nutritionists, I'd seen dietitians, and they put me on gluten-free and vegan and no nightshades and all this stuff. And actually, fruit and veg in a concentrated form into the bloodstream, that was it for me. So I was like, well, everybody needs to know about this. So I just started, might as well have got a car with a speaker on the roof and just run around like a campaign, just touting it. That's how I feel about it, because we don't know this stuff. We're not being taught it in schools. Our children don't know it. And that's what I do. I just try and raise that awareness.
And it's crazy, isn't it, when you really, really think about it? Because, we've got diet and exercise, which has been going on for quite some time. And the most simplest things, are not being taught within schools, nor within, when it comes to biology or anything that comes to kind of health on a scientific scale. They'll mention it, and it does get mentioned, but it doesn't fully get honored, especially hidden psychological stress, which is the cause of that inflammation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So and it's amazing how it doesn't get the kind of kudos that it actually deserves. People don't really talk about it or anything very much. And I'm not surprised to go around talking about it.
And there's emotional stress. But once I understood the role of basically, the body running like a car engine. And if you run it at 5 miles an hour, you don't have that much toxic load going, the oxidative stress, the free radical output of the cells that get damaged. That's what needs mopping up. But if you run your car at 30 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, you need way more antioxidants to mop up that damage. Well, when I then was understood that, I was like, oh, now I understand why I'm the way I am, because I was doing so much sport, 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day sometimes. My body was running at 100 miles an hour. Now, professional athletes should be eating about 18 fist-sized portions a day of fruit and veg.
Yeah.
Or you start getting damage. The more harder you run and the harder you exercise, the more oxidative stress, the more exhaust fumes you produce in your body. So I'd competed nationally for 10 years probably. There's no way I was eating that much fruit and veg. So then it was as soon as those hormones kick in, so does the imbalance, and it was oh, okay, I get it. So, that's a big one for me as well. People who are trying to do their best with diet and really fit and really healthy, they're actually probably more in a deficit if they're not getting enough whole foods into the body. And also the information that we're giving out is wrong, because in the UK we say 5 a day. We're not even managing 3 on a national level. It's less than 3 portions a day that we manage. It's not 5 a day. That's something from 1950s, really out of date. Most countries recommend 10 fist-sized portions a day, and the biggest scientific studies that have been done on nutrition are saying 7 to 13 portions. And if we can do 7 or more portions a day, you're 42% less likely to die prematurely. So even if we get to 7, you're putting yourself in a totally different ballgame. But to do the recommended 10 a day, if you're in Japan, it's 17 portions a day they recommend. And Austria, based on their portion sizes, recommend 18 portions a day. I mean, forget it. Your human stomach can't take 18 cricket balls of fruit and veg a day. I mean, that's a huge amount of food.
Yes.
But of course, on top of that, we're juggling our families. We're racing out the door to get to work, and we're missing lunch because we're in a meeting, and we're grabbing a sandwich and a packet of crisps, and we're coming back, and then we're grabbing something out the freezer because we're knackered. It's actually really, really hard to do 10 portions a day. I try. I'm pretty much plant-based. We eat really good, healthy foods, always from scratch. But my gosh, it's hard to do. As a family of 4, I've got to be doing 280 portions a week. Forget it.
That's a lot. And I just picked up on something that you were saying as well. I think that this is a conversation that we don't have, is the amount of exercise compared to what your body can actually handle. And I completely resonate with you truly on what you're saying, because I lost a load of my hair. So it was that short on top. So I ended up walking around with a mullet because of the amount of fitness classes I was doing, because of the sheer volume of of stress that I felt amazing, but at the same time my body was going, I can't cope with this. And I was drinking as well, loads of alcohol, and it just didn't work. I know I need to be in contact with you about your supplements as well. We'll wrap up the conversation now, but I do want to get you on again for another conversation, because I do feel like this is a conversation that needs to be kind of repeated again. Chloe, tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, so the B plan, it's all about being happier, healthier, more independent, more inspired. It's all about being the best version of you. So it's not B as in the letter, it's BE as in be more. So it's the bplan.info if they want to check out the website. They can find me on Facebook, Chloe Myers _ the B plan. We've got an amazing wellness hub on there with nearly 1,000 members, where we just post recipes and tips, and we've got guest speaker events and things like that. So if they connect with me, they can go into the wellness hub and just check it out. I've got a link tree. Just find me, Chloe Myers, on Facebook, and
and we'll pop a link on here as well. What I like to do every podcast that I do, and if we pop it out on YouTube as well, and I always do a card reading at the end.
Oh, okay.
I do a card reading beforehand. I've already picked the card beforehand, but the card that came out was the sun card, which is just really, really beautiful. The sun card is almost like the shining light, the person who shines from the inside out. And it's such an amazing card. It's for positivity. It's for allowing yourself to feel happy and allowing yourself to be in your incredible energy as well. So that was the card that came out for this podcast today. And if anyone knows this card, they will know it very, very well. And it is a beautiful card to have.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. Trina, and weirdly, we were talking about a leader, because I did a post that said I don't feel like a leader, and we all have wobbles, don't we? And we all question our own abilities at things, and mine is being a leader. It's quite uncomfortable for me. And somebody said to me in that, because it's how you identify with yourself, she also said, you're like a ray of sunshine. And I was like, what? Like, I found that, like, really? Okay, thank you so much. It was such a nice compliment. But she literally said it to me about 2 days ago, and it's been going over in my mind. And then you picked out the sun card, which I was like, that's really odd, because it was a compliment. It was such a lovely, big compliment for me. I was like, that's a really lovely thing to say about someone. And you got the sun card. So
and I've got awesome. The sun card as well. There you go. It just cements it for you. It does.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you to everyone who's listened in and tuned in as well. I'll be back with my next podcast very, very soon. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
And I will see you all soon. Thank you.